These two guys, Steve Madison and Antonio Banks, not a rivalry of sorts when they were going here in IPW, but these two guys both known for the Southern Strong style. Some of you who see some stuff might be reminiscent of some Japanese wrestling you've seen. Some of you older fans, perhaps it's reminiscent of some old wrestling you've seen with a little bit of the new style thrown in. That's pretty much what they try to do. But I tell you what, Ron Meany, Antonio Banks, ex-911 member Steve Madison, you've got some issues with both of these gentlemen.
It doesn't matter what issues I have. You want to talk about athleticism? You want to talk about competitiveness? You want to talk about two guys trying to work their way up the ladder on the independent scene? Steve Madison, just back from Tokyo, headlining for Big Mouth Loud. Antonio Banks being heavily recruited by the WWE with Deep South, but you look at it right now, Aaron Royal. Steve Madison taking over Antonio Banks with a beautiful headlock takedown, taking him up and over, using that leg leverage. You talk about the strength of these two individuals. This is going to be a hard-fought contest.
Absolutely, Ron. Right now, they're just kind of feeling each other out, but I guarantee you, knowing both of these individuals, they're going to be beating the living hell out of each other later on. And myself and Rod Steele talked about it earlier on. There's a whole lot of definitions for the words hardcore. IPW hardcore does not mean just blood and guts. Does it mean that? You bet your ass it does, and you're going to find it out a whole lot later on tonight. You already saw some blood in the previous match before this. Mikey Tenderfoot split wide open. But these guys are going to show you how to be hardcore without the blood. They're going to show some stiff shots. They're going to show heart and soul, beating the living hell out of each other and coming back for more. That's how we do it in Florida. That's how we do it in IPW.
Aaron, you just hit the nail on the head. You've seen Antonio Banks absolutely running the Modern Miracle, Steve Madison, over with an unbelievable shoulder tackle, leveling this kid. IPW Hardcore Wrestling doesn't stand for blood and guts. It stands for the heart. You want to talk about hardcore in IPW? These guys are hardcore through and through. They are wrestlers. They wrestle for a living. This is what they do. This is what they eat. This is what they sleep. And this is what they do 24 hours a day. Antonio Banks, Steve Madison, absolutely perfecting their craft. A lot of the veterans say these are two of the up-and-comers. As far as I'm concerned, these two are two of the best on the scene right now. As Jim Ross would say, they're blue chippers. Look at Steve Madison getting out of the way of that beautiful gangsta kick by Antonio Banks.
As you said, Antonio Banks right now heavily recruited by the WWE. They want him in Deep South. He's just playing all of his options right now. Steve Madison, the last IPW television champion. As you said, a big name in Japan. One of the Americans catching on over there in the land of the rising sun. And there he rolls him up. I thought maybe a penitent, but he just gets him in a nice little head scissors right there, trying to wear the man down, but at the same time applying pressure to the head. And what else can we say about Steve Madison? Over in Big Mouth Loud, teaming with Buck Quartermain. We're going to see Buck Quartermain later tonight. He's in that big four-way match with Mike Sullivan and Bruce Steele. They're all trying to get that title in the elimination match, the IPW World Heavyweight title. As you see Steve Madison nearly getting the 3 count. They're all going to be going for it later on tonight. But Ron Meany, this match, just like your Cedric Strong Jarrell Clark match earlier on tonight, shows how bad guys want to be a part of this IPW reunion. Blood, sweat, and beers. These guys have no problem with each other. Hell, they like each other. But everybody wants to be on this show. You're going to see matches tonight built on the hardcore gore, blood, and violence of IPW, like the main event involving the Canada Cult. You have already seen great cruiserweight action that we were known for, like with Cedric Strong and Jarrell Clark, and some stiff kicks right to the back of Antonio Banks, hopping over, big drop kick right across the face. This is what we're talking about. You're going to see a 4-way match involving 4 champions from IPW. Right now, what you're seeing, 2 guys who want to be a part of this show and showing everybody why they deserve to be called the best of the best here in IPW Hardcore.
Antonio Banks not impressed by Lex Lovett. He's not impressed by Buck Quartermain, Mike Sullivan, and Bruce Steele. Sure, they're going to go at it for the IPW heavyweight title. The truth is, these two are the young guns. These two are the ones that plan on taking IPW into the future. Unfortunately, IPW closed its doors 2 years ago, but these two didn't hang it up. They didn't quit. They've done everything they can to make a name for themselves in Puerto Rico and in Japan and throughout the United States with Ring of Honor and FIP. Antonio Banks, Steve Madison, 2 of the toughest sons of bitches you will ever find. These kids jacked up, been in the gym nonstop getting ready for this show. You can see the strength. You can see the intestinal fortitude. Steve Madison measuring Antonio Banks, takes him off his feet. I don't know why he's wasted his time, Aaron Royal. He needs to get on Banks, and he needs to get on him now.
Absolutely. If you're talking about a regular wrestling match with a grudge, with a title, with something like that at stake, I absolutely agree with you, Ron Nemi, but I'll tell you why he's not doing it. When they announced this match, both Steve Madison and Antonio Banks were hell-bent on proving, hell, anybody can go out there and prove that if you take some cheap shots, if you take advantage of the rules, that you can win a match. Both these guys have done it and done it well. But tonight, as you see those stiff kicks to the knees from Antonio Banks, knocking Madison off his feet, but he's too tight in the ropes. He's never going to get this, too. Didn't even hook the leg, a 1.5 count for Antonio Banks. What these guys are trying to prove, they know that if they take some cheap shots, maybe they'll get the win. But they also know that's just a notch in the victory column. Maybe it's a bigger payday. But for the long run, they want that honor. They want that prestige. This is a legendary show, and they want that legendary status of winning this match, what they're going to call it, the right way.
You know what? Antonio Banks comes in here. You talk about stripped down, bare bones, pair of boots, pair of shorts, nothing on top. This kid comes in jacked up. Look at the traps. Look at the triceps. Look at the biceps. Beautiful vertical press for only a 1 count. Steve Madison has the presence of mind to kick out, but look at the wicked shots. Call them cross faces. Call them what you will. Busting up the jaw and the face of Steve Madison. As far as I'm concerned, Antonio Banks, it looks to me like he's got that bicep hook underneath the throat of Steve Madison. The referee needs to get in there and check out what's going on. Antonio Banks, Aaron Royal, not above taking a shortcut, not above doing what he can. Some people call it cheating. I don't agree. You do what you got to do to win. And these two kids, again, I hate to use the term, blue chippers. This is the future of wrestling, and we're watching it right here at IPW Hardcore Wrestling Family Reunion. Blood, sweat, and beers.
I swear to you, Ron Nemi, if you ever miss a shot like that again, I'm cutting you off mid-sentence. Absolutely huge forearm by Antonio Banks. You say he's taking cheap shots? I disagree. These guys are just beating the living hell out of each other. It almost sounds like you're being an apologist for Steve Madison, who we know you've had all kinds of trouble with ever since IPW closed its doors. But maybe a little nostalgia running through your blood, Ron Nemi. Steve Madison, a big part of 911 Incorporated when IPW shut its doors. But shortly thereafter, in NWA Florida, as Steve Madison winning his first Florida heavyweight title, all of a sudden the spotlight wasn't on Ron Nemi. And I'm not here to chew you out, we're here to call a match, but I tell you what, that turned into one of the bloodiest feuds in Florida history. And I don't care if it's from IPW, I don't care if it's from NWA Florida, I don't care where it's from. Over the past 2 years since IPW shut its doors, Steve Madison has taken that name he made for himself in IPW and made it to even bigger heights. And whether you like him or not, you've got to admit that.
Steve Madison's the type of kid that's going to prove to you what he's got in guts. Look at the beautiful clothesline, knocking Antonio Banks off his feet. Antonio Banks in all kinds of trouble. Steve Madison crawling over Banks on his feet. Steve with a beautiful kick. Takes him out with a crescent kick to the back of the head. Referee Billy Dalton right on the action, but letting these two combatants go at it. Balls to the wall. Tooth and nail. You're right, Aaron Royal. Steve Madison, former member of 911 Incorporated, but the truth is I'd like to take all the credit. I'd like to take all the glory. But Steve Madison has done it on his own, just as he's doing right now with Antonio Banks, who gets out at the 2.5 count.
Tremendous action by these two guys. They've got to be so tired by now. Anybody who's ever done any amateur high school wrestling at any level knows what it's like to go in there, balls to the wall for even 3 minutes at a time. These guys have been going 3 times that long already and still going at it. You see, they're not doing rest holds. They're beating the hell out of each other. 1, 2. Oh, I thought a little quick victory by Antonio Banks, but Madison comes right back, misses a kick, and all over him is Antonio Banks. You can't slip up around the man from Davie, Florida.
You know what, Steve Madison? It isn't 3 strikes and you're out, baby. 1 strike and you're out. You take a kick, you try to take out Antonio Banks, you want to take him out with 1 kick, you miss by a mile. You know what you get? A boot right to your face, brother. That's why Antonio Banks always claims he's from Liberty City. He's the real deal. He's the badass. Incarcerated for over 8 years in South Florida. He learned the ways behind the walls of prison. He learned the ways of the street, and now he's learning the ways of IPW Hardcore Wrestling. Right in that squared circle. Take it out, Steve Madison.
And there they go, right in the corner. You talk about Antonio Banks, he does definitely have a troubled past. But one thing I'll give him is he comes off, a little dancing. Oh, and a big Bronco Buster right in the center. Steve Madison pulls himself out of the ring. Could have been a lot more damage than that. But Antonio Banks, a lot of guys come out of that kind of situation. They're harder than ever. Wait, quick, 1, 2. Oh, must have gotten to the ropes there as Billy Dalton stops the count. Couldn't quite see that, Ron Nemi. But as I was saying about Banks, a lot of guys come out of prison. They're hard. That's okay, but they're bitter. They want to prove something to the world, and they go about it the wrong way. They end up right back in the same bad position. A lot of guys come out of prison, and they don't want any part of trouble. They back away from it. Antonio Banks, right down the middle. He's learned to channel that aggression, channel that anger, channel that viciousness into the squared circle. A perfect place for a badass like Antonio Banks. But right now, he's taken off his feet. Big shoulder block at the second turnbuckle by the Modern Miracle.
Steve Madison taking over from the second rope with an absolutely vicious shoulder tackle, launching himself into Antonio Banks, taking him off his feet. But Banks, this guy's showing all kinds of stamina, all kinds of strength. He's obviously been in the gym and studying the tapes of Steve Madison, who backs him up, whips him in, and follows him up. Beautiful, whatever the hell that's
Ace
called.
Crusher! Ace Crusher by Steve Madison. We've seen it a bunch of times tonight. But I tell you what, if it works, keep on doing it. Madison finally trying to catch a second win. Your two-time former NWA Florida Heavyweight Champion. He has a big victory over one of your boys, Todd Shane. Oh, misses the clothesline. A big kick to the midsection by Banks, and he's going for a power bomb. And if he does, this might be it, Ron Nemi. Oh, doesn't quite get it all. Can he get the pin? 1, 2. What happened there? Billy Dalton with a slow count. Antonio Banks should have won this match.
I don't think that was a slow count. Antonio Banks not getting the full extension, not getting Steve Madison to the height he needed for that power bomb. Barely got him up to his waist, dropped him on the back of his head. Steve Madison obviously in all kinds of trouble, but not absorbing the pain. And oh my God. Scoop slam. Antonio Banks backs up, going for an elbow. Beautifully executed. Steve Madison in all kinds of trouble. Hooks the leg. 1, 2. Come on, referee.
Billy Dalton must be as blown up as these guys. Antonio Banks, I tell you what, he's not a complainer, but if he says something about getting screwed in this match, you may have to believe him. Let's just hope Billy Dalton counts it right down the middle when it's time for Steve Madison to get a 2 count, assuming he can ever get Antonio Banks in that position again. Right now, these two guys absolutely worn out. Antonio Banks trying to get to the crowd, get him behind him, but as he does, he turns right around. Look at some vicious chops from Steve Madison. He gets put in the corner. I tell you what, Steve Madison looked like he was out. Then he comes with a big forearm across the head. He's about to whip him off, but no, Banks will let it happen. A big kick, Southern Strong Style. That's what we're talking about, Ron Nemi.
You know what, Aaron? Well, these two, you want to talk about go? There's no quit whatsoever in these guys. This match has been going so. Look at the beautiful brain buster. Steve Madison, the Modern Miracle. He's got Antonio Banks right where he needs him. Aaron Royal, they have gone so long that my right leg has actually fallen to sleep. Please wake up. The truth is, I'm not going to sit here and try to get the sympathy that I deserve. Modern Miracle, Steve Madison. Antonio Banks backs up, beautiful, comes off for the axe bomber. Antonio Banks ducks under, beautiful German suplex. Steve Madison in all kinds of trouble.
He missed him with a forearm to Steve Madison. Beautiful German suplex, released it. Steve Madison flips right over. Thank God the ropes are there to save him. Both men out on their feet, but Antonio Banks goes for the midsection. Misses with the kick. Oh, he goes with the 305 and he misses with 2. Oh, I thought he was out right there.
Unbelievable. The Modern Miracle, Steve Madison, pulling out all the stops, digging into that bag of tricks. The man from Liberty City himself, Antonio Banks, in all kinds of trouble with a freshly grown in half afro, doing everything he can to win this match, to prove to the fans of IPW Hardcore Wrestling he's a real deal. Steve Madison backing up, looking for his second win. Antonio Banks takes him up. No, he misses. Steve Madison with the abdominal stretch into the pinfall. 1, 2, and 3. He got him. Modern Miracle, Steve Madison with a huge win at IPW Hardcore Wrestling's Blood, Sweat, and Beer is